Man, this is Deion Dawkins, man, and you're listening to The Scoop on OurScoop.com. You already know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Scoop, the weekly podcast of OurScoop.com, the authority on Temple athletics. We are on to our 44th episode of our 11th season. Good news is that we've got Kyle Gauss and Ryan Mack back on The Scoop this week. Kyle, you look bothered already. What were you about to share?
No, I feel bad that you had to go through the last couple of weeks just you alone with your thoughts. It's like an audio diary.
An audio diary. No, Kyle and Ryan are back with us on this week's episode. It's been another busy week for Temple's football program. At the time we're recording this, the Owls are up to 13 verbal commitments from the 2027 class. On3 has that class ranked third in the American, 83rd nationally. Kyle had you prepared for a lot of this with his story about the official visitors heading into this past weekend. And Ryan and I have caught up with some of the more recent commits from the past two official visit weekends. So we'll get you caught up on all of that. And in our commitment to having you get to know more about so many of the new players on Adam Fisher's Temple men's basketball team, you'll hear my interview with Christian Beam, the 7'1" transfer center from Georgia State. Talked to him earlier today. And then we'll get to your questions in the mailbag. Guys, what's going on? How we doing? Haven't seen your lovely faces in a couple of weeks. What's new and exciting?
Oh, you're so sweet, John. I missed you too.
Did you get
I didn't answer his question, Ryan.
Yeah, what's new and exciting with you? What's going on?
Nothing much, just been home. Just like work, just working. Got a haircut.
Yeah, looks good.
Ryan, where are you at right now?
I'm at home.
Like where in your home?
I'm in my parents' room.
Okay, they got nothing on the walls.
Nah.
It's a wall. It's a blank slate, a blank canvas.
Yeah, literally, it's just like a bunch of just white walls.
Interesting.
But
John and I had a lot of things on our walls. Almost too many things on our walls.
Kyle, what's new and exciting with you? How have you been?
Good. I am surviving in chaos. We are having another child, so we are going from there.
Congratulations.
So baby Gauss number 3 coming Q4 2026.
Q4.
And yeah, survival. Very excited. But yeah, it's still a while away, so we are doing all the stuff leading up to that, which includes my wife and my mother-in-law looking at my guest room and just going through a laundry list of things that need to be done to turn it into a nursery, which they're not going to do any of those things on the laundry list. It's going to come to me. I'm going to have to do all these things on the laundry list.
Am I allowed to ask for a Claire Bear story or two about what those conversations are like?
Claire and my wife, so it wasn't just her, asked me to take down the shelving of the closet because they want a different one, blah blah. And I took it down and I put it in the garage to start throwing it out. And then she asked me why I took it down. Why wouldn't I just reuse it? I said, you are the person that asked me to take this down, Claire. She also, last week I made a joke about cutting my own son's hair, and then she just looked at me and said, look at you, you're going to be the one to cut his hair. And then I scoffed at that. And then the next day she goes, oh, I thought I slipped that one by you. She looked me in the eyes, made fun of me, and then the next day was like, oh, I'm surprised you caught on to that. She's a menace.
I love her.
Menace.
But a wonderful menace, though.
They're at the Phillies game right now.
I think Claire
That's
Bear,
nice.
I think Claire McNicholas could kill somebody, and I would still not think anything less of her.
Jesus.
I know. That was a dark.
Everybody has to have their line, John. And yours.
I love her. So Jordan Haley, were they excited?
Good. They're very excited. They're very aware that there's a baby growing in mommy's tummy. Whether or not they fully know that means that there will be a baby here in the winter, waking them up every 45 minutes. I don't fully know if they know that yet, because Jordan was so young when Haley was born. But they're gonna find out. We're all gonna find out. We're all gonna revert back to that mentality, that bunker mentality.
How's Riggs doing? I got to ask about my boy Riggs.
Worse, regressing. I tell you, I've had to start crating him if I'm not physically in the room with him because he just keeps eating toys. I think he's trying to kill himself. He keeps just eating these this hard plastic stuff. I'm like, you're trying to kill yourself.
No.
So I'm gonna not allow this to happen. So I have to crate him every time I'm not physically with him.
No, because that was scary early on in his life.
Yes, and for the last 7 years he's been a wild animal, being able to do what he wants, and now there's consequences to actions. That's the moral of both of these points. Me having another kid and the dog having to get crated a lot. There's consequences to actions. There is cause and effect to things.
But this is good news. This is good news.
Yes.
It's good news. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
You're wonderful parents. Ryan, You're gonna be an uncle. You're gonna be a scoop uncle.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
naming the kid Ryan, regardless of gender, even though I know what the gender is.
Ryan Mackhouse.
Yeah.
Ryan, return of the, and then
Ryan,
you would think it
return of
says
the
Mac, but it's
Mackhouse.
actually Gauss. It's just Ryan, return of the Gauss.
Ryan, you are delivering the baby. How do you think you would be under pressure as a labor and delivery doctor? Do you think you'd be calm? Do you think you'd be no?
I would crack. I would crack so bad. I would. No, no, no. I would fold under pressure. I
Yeah.
will. I can.
Look, there's something to be said about that self-honesty.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that they're the ones to land the plane. Some people aren't meant to land the plane. I
Ryan,
keep
as-
calling it's a boy. I keep calling him Trey when I refer to him, and Meg's like,
Trey.
you can't keep doing next. I'm gonna start
Trey
liking the
Gauss.
name. And I was like, absolutely not. We can't. I can't name my kid Trey Gauss. So it will not be Trey.
Trey Gauss is on the way. Ryan Mack got a new haircut. Chelsea and I went up to Cape Cod for my birthday. I saw a shark.
Did you bring back any chips?
We saw the actual lighthouse that appears on the Cape Cod chips. So
But no
that was
chips.
something. Yeah. No, we brought back some chips. They were good. Good car snack.
You didn't bring them back as like a souvenir. You just brought them back because you bought them for the card.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, you just go to the grocery store and buy Cape Cod.
No, we didn't like.
You got the Acme ass.
Oh my God.
It's like, do they have like, it's like going to the Coke factory and they have experimental flavors?
Yes.
No, that's the
No,
gas station in Cape
we,
Cod.
we went to Nantucket for a day. It's like, oh my God, Nantucket nectar. Nantucket was beautiful. Chatham was gorgeous. It was nice to get away. Nice to get away for the birthday. And now we're back.
Yeah, that's the other thing we're not talking about.
What?
John has entered a certain era of his life.
Don't want to talk about. Don't want to talk about it. No, it was a nice birthday. I'm very lucky. I have a lot of blessings in my life. So it was nice day, nice trip. We got great weather up there. We were in ate pizza in New Haven on the way up. Stopped at Sally's for pizza. Stopped in Newport for a night and a day, and then we're in Cape Cod for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Came back Monday. So saw a few Red Sox t-shirts. Ryan,
Are Newports made in Newport?
that I don't
Yes.
know.
The brand was originally named for the seaport of Newport, Rhode Island.
Got was wearing an Eagles t-shirt one day. Got a few Go Birds chants up there. Did not have any Patriots fans asking me about AJ Brown. Was prepared for my answer there, but I didn't get any AJ Brown.
You could get that
conversation.
question here from our resident Patriots fan.
Yeah, how you feeling?
Great. I'm so happy.
Give that about a year.
Yeah, people keep telling me that, but me and one of my roommates, his name's Kinley, McKinley Russell Downson, we shout out. We were talking about it. I was like, this is the first time in like a minute that the Patriots have had like a true number one wide receiver, and I will take that to heart. I'm really excited about that, so I'll take it. It's the first time since Randy that we've had a true number one wide receiver. Love Julian Edelman so much, love him so much, but like. It's a little bit different.
Wes Welker.
Yeah, kind of like I'm just thinking of like a dude.
It's 1,600 yards one year.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like a dude that like you always thought was a number that you always put in there your top 5, top 10, and AJ you always did.
So you're banking everything off 1 year of Randy Moss was like when the last thing that your franchise had a number one wide receiver, because he was only really good for that 1 year.
Oh, I know.
All I'll say is this: I wouldn't bank the future of my offense on a player that arguably the best run franchise in the NFL of the last 10 years was willing to get rid of.
Sure.
Right? Like Howie Roseman at this point has learned a lot of respect, and like he kind of just had to like assume what he's going to do is worked out, and then yeah, whatever. I hope it works out for both teams. I hope both teams have fun.
One more thing before we get into the rest of the agenda for the show, we should shout out Paul getting engaged.
Yeah, Paul Wall.
Yeah. Congratulations, Paul Mafarad. Saw the engagement pictures. Congratulations, buddy. Again, one of the world's kindest human beings. Kyle's buddy from Downingtown.
Yeah, Colleen, his fiance, great. We were waiting to see when that was going to happen, and it finally happened in June. I was literally talking to Meg like 2 days beforehand, like when's this going to happen, and then
Yes.
here we are.
Yes. So congratulations, buddy. Doubt he's listening to the
June
scoop.
2026, exciting times. No, he's definitely not listening to the.
No, but we'll shout him out anyway. Let's dive into the happenings of the past week on the Temple football recruiting front. So again, if you subscribe to Al Scoop, then you had a hint of what was to come from Kyle's excellent recruiting coverage. Kyle put out a story, had a list of 15 confirmed visitors that we knew of heading into this past weekend. One of them was Colin Walls, the Hunt School tight end who had already committed. So beyond Colin Walls, 6 other players from that group have since committed. Defensive lineman Caleb St. Fleur from Florida, Sincere Hester. We've been telling you pretty much for the past month that he was likely to commit. Nikai Martin, wide receiver, Amara Dole, an outside linebacker, Kamari Holloway, the running back from North Carolina, and then another linebacker, Quinn Vanest. And since we last recorded, we talked to a few of the players who have announced their commitments. Ryan caught up with Shakari Graham, the wideout and safety from DC's St. James Academy. I had spoken with Providence Day School wideout Ethan Dempsey ahead of his announcement, and we had that story queued up for Friday just after he announced. I also spoke with Millville High School's Jaden Days. He's going to play safety. He's a wideout there too, but going to play safety at Temple. Found out through talking to him that I covered his father when his father was in high school at Bridgeton High School. David Days, his father was a very good running back at Bridgeton High School. So Jaden's coming to Temple to play safety. And then again, I talked yesterday, just a couple hours after Kamari Holloway announced. So all those stories are up on the site right now and only available to AlScoop subscribers. Ryan, you, as I said just a second ago, you caught up with Shakari Graham. We're not going to give you the whole story here, but if you gave readers a taste of what you guys talked about, I guess they don't have a position for him, right? Like as of now, he could come in and play wideout. He could play on the defensive side. If you want to give listeners just a quick glance at what you guys talked about when you caught up with him.
Mainly what we kind of talked about was just like his belief in like what Coach Casey Keeler is building and like Casey's like just like belief in him. He doesn't have a position right now. He kind of just talks about like he prides himself in being versatile, whether coming in playing wide receiver or coming in and like playing safety, where he feels like he no matter where he is or where he is lined up at, he will be able to make a play, and that's just what he wants to be able to do, making impact with the team.
I mentioned Kamari Holloway. Again, if you're an AlScoop subscriber, you have access to that story. He did mention in our conversation that he is still planning to visit another regional school, but as of now, he's committed to Temple. So, as you guys know, things can change with recruiting. Things are not official until these guys sign. But as of now, these are all verbal commitments. Along that front, I mentioned Mikey McQueen last week, the Temple verbal commitment from Rancocas Valley High School. He did end up going to visit Syracuse, and that's not news necessarily. He posted about it on social media. We had a couple of people reach out to us and say, "Hey, is he still committed to Temple?" I messaged him earlier today and I said, "Hey, saw you visit Syracuse. I know things can change." And he wrote me back and said, "No, he's still committed to Temple." So as of now, still good news for Temple. Again, they're getting a 6'4" cornerback. Again, he's played wide out. He's played cornerback at Rancocas Valley. So did take his official visit to Syracuse. Again, that's not uncommon. So these guys can flip. They can change their mind. But Mikey McQueen did tell me today that he is still committed to Temple. We're going to have more recruiting information for you. A couple of guys, I'm sure, will announce their verbal commitments after this past weekend's official visit weekend. So keep reaching out to as many of these guys as possible. Great time to subscribe. 50% off an annual subscription. We're going to continue to be your best source of Temple football recruiting information. So I'm sure we'll have more to talk to you about next week and as guys verbally commit. So stay locked into AlScoop for more football recruiting coverage. As I mentioned at the outset of the show, I had the chance to sit down earlier today to talk to Christian Beam, the 7'1" center, the transfer center from Georgia State. Temple fans have been clamoring for some size. So between Christian Beam and Sir Isaac Heron, you have a 6'10" center and a 7'1" center. So we're going to queue up this interview for you here. So we talked about just, him being a little late to the game. He didn't start really playing organized basketball until high school and was homeschooled before that, and gave me some good stuff just on the expectations of when you get to that height. What are the expectations of being 7'1" and, just growing into his game. Did mention you'll hear here in our conversation, he went on a visit there and they offered him, but he just felt like Temple had more to offer in terms of playing time, in terms of opportunities. So as of now, still one more spot available on the roster. I would imagine that they're still in search of more size, more depth in the front court there. But we'll play this conversation with Christian Beam, and then we'll have more for you on the other side as we get into the mailbag.
Has it even been 2 weeks yet with your
yeah?
How's it gone so far? Like, what's it like just getting used to new teammates? I know you guys were at the Shore yesterday, or at the, I don't know if you're used to people calling it the Shore here, but just in Longport at Drew Katz's place, and he's a trustee here, so it looks like you guys had a good time. But what's it been like so far, just getting to know some of your new teammates?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great. This past week and a half, I feel like me and my teammates, we've all grown a lot closer together. This is definitely the most work I've ever put in with the team, you know, just every single day. And so it's been really great to start getting to know everybody. I'm very excited about continuing this.
Before I even ask you about why you committed to Temple, can you just take me through the process of, you had the season you had this past season at Georgia State, and then when you decide to enter the portal, what's the process like when schools start reaching out? How do you just get to the point where you're going to set up visits and you keep everything straight? I'd imagine it's pretty hectic. If you had to explain to someone what that's like, what is it like?
Yeah, it's very stressful. For me, my mother and father, they're also big parts in my recruitment. And so we thought it was the best direction to go was to get an agent. So I did sign with an agent, and he really helped me schedule things and line things up, and just make sure everything went smoothly. But absolutely, it was extremely extremely stressful for that first month and a half or so. But as soon as I got to Temple, I knew I wanted to be here. So.
Who was it from Temple who first reached out? Did they go through your agent first, and does your agent come to you and say, hey, Temple reached out? Was it Adam Fisher? Like, how did they first kind of get into the mix?
So my agent, I believe Coach Fisher reached out to my agent, and then Coach Fisher called me. And it was Coach Fisher that originally reached out to me first.
Yeah. Who else, when it came down to it, who were the other schools that were in the mix? I think I'd heard that Tennessee had offered you too.
Yeah, so I did have an offer from Tennessee. I went on a visit there, and I also had a couple other Sun Belt schools wanted me. I was looking at App State pretty seriously, but nobody really piqued my interest, if that makes sense. Or really, I didn't believe that anybody had the necessary things in order. Like, here, what I mean by that, the coaching staff is amazing here. Everybody's really organized. The gymnasium is amazing, both the practice gym and the main gym. I feel like this is a very organized program, and it's a program that really focuses on winning. It focuses on bringing a team together and getting done what needs to be done.
I've asked all the other guys this because as long as I've been covering Adam and the staff, all the recruits that I've talked to that have come in, whether it's high school guys or portal guys, they all talk about how when they come in here for a visit, the staff sits with you and does a deep dive into your film. Here's what you're doing well. We could take your 3-point percentage from this to this, or we could get your offensive rebounding numbers from here to here. And a lot of them have said, yeah, not every staff does that. They kind of just tell me what I want to hear. Did they do that with you and kind of do a deep dive into all the statistical stuff? And if so, what was that like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of my visit, I sat down with Coach Fisher, Coach Don, Coach Jordan, and a couple other guys that were in there. And I mean, they did a deep dive on all the analytics of every statistic that you could think of, and they said, we can improve here, you do this good, you do that good. So absolutely, he broke it down. And that's kind of happened in the past before, but Coach Fisher he was very extensive about it, and no other coaches broke it down the way he did.
On the visit, is there a moment during the visit when something hits your gut and you say, okay, this is where I want to be? Or like, if you had to explain to a fan what that process is like, I'm sure your head's swimming with like all sorts of different possibilities. Was there a moment on the visit where you look at your parents and say, this is it?
I wouldn't say that moment was specifically on the visit, but it was on the plane.
Okay. On the plane home?
Yes.
Yeah.
We were in the airport. After the visit, it was really great. We were in the airport, and I'm sitting there talking to my parents. We're trying to figure out what would be the best opportunity and the best direction to go. And in the airport is whenever I fully made my decision. So I didn't want to leave the state without them knowing. So.
Oh, so you called the coaches from the airport?
Yes.
What was their reaction?
He was excited. I mean, I called Coach Fish first, and he was just ecstatic. And Coach Jordan reached out to me. He texted me congratulations, and they both seemed very ecstatic that I was joining the team.
When Adam and the staff talk to you, and they're recruiting you, and they're going over film, how do they explain to you how they use their bigs here? Because again, like everybody hears now, it sounds exhausting, but like positionless basketball, bigs get us to do this or that. But there are so many different complementary pieces in an offense and a defense. How do they talk to you about how they want to use their bigs here and their post players?
Absolutely. So this is also the first school that I've been as integrated into the offense as I am. You know, because we run a five, or we start out with a 5 out. You know, and a lot of times I start the offense off with the ball in my hand. And I really enjoy doing that. At the same time, you know, I know that I'm 7 feet tall. I know that I'm a center, so I know I have to go get rebounds. And so I gotta go get rebounds and do the dirty work in the post. And I'm fully prepared to do that. And they see that I'm ready to do that, and that I yearn to do that. And so they're pushing me in every way to get angles whenever I roll, or angle on my screen and everything like that. So they absolutely help with everything.
So tell me about this past season at Georgia State. You'd start 11 games. You had that stretch in December where you didn't play as much, and then your minutes went back up in January. Where did you learn? Where did you get better when you reflect on the season? What was this past season like for you?
Past season, I enjoyed it. You know, off the court, me and my team, we were a very solid team. We were very close together. On the court, I feel like we were also very close together. A lot of people didn't agree with the play style, and it really did. I feel like the play style didn't work for a lot of people, for a lot of individuals' play style, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yep.
And so, you know, things just led to another, and we just didn't do as good.
That Northern Illinois game, you had 10 points, 13 rebounds. It was a 1-point loss. So you got those, you got those numbers in a really meaningful game. Did that game kind of like rejuvenate you? Because it looked like, even if you're just following basic box scores, it looks like that really kind of got you back into the mix, and that was, an important game. Absolutely,
yeah. I specifically remember that game and a game against Marshall where I really started to feel myself, and you know, I knew going into the season that I was able to play at this level, but at that point I was really like, I'm here, I'm ready, let's do this, let's win. And so absolutely, I feel like that definitely, if anything, it boosted my confidence.
So I'm going to put you in the shoes of a coach and looking at, again, you're only a couple weeks into these guys, but tell me about what you've seen just being on the floor with a guy like Sir Isaac Heron so far. One of the other guys that's like maybe a true big. What have you seen from him so far, just playing with him, practicing with him?
I really enjoy it. I really do, because obviously, like I said, being a center, got to do a lot of dirty work in the post, and just going against someone of that level. He's been in college. He's very smart. He's very aware. He knows what to do, and so just playing against him and his physicality every single day I believe, is going to better both of us for this season.
And then you guys have Babacar Jai from UCSA, Edwin Suarez comes in for Weber State, and even a guy like Gavin is versatile. But when you have guys like Babacar and Edwin, again, I'll say the disclaimer here, you've only been playing with them for a couple of weeks. What have you noticed about them? They're guys that can guard multiple positions on the floor as well.
Absolutely. Both of them specifically, they're extremely versatile. With Babacar, he's extremely athletic human being. He dunks everything. He can shoot the three, and he can guard from 1 through 5. And same exact thing with Edwin. He's a very fundamental guy. He knows what to do in certain situations, and can guard 1 through 5.
What about Gavin? I know this program asks a lot of him offensively, and he can shoot the three, but I think maybe they were even not surprised, but he became a good shot blocker, and not just like a weak side shot blocker, just swoops in, good body position stuff, and he can help on that. And what's it been like just playing and practicing with him too?
Absolutely, he can shoot the lights out of the ball. It's fun watching and playing with him, obviously. But again, he is 6'8", 6'8", 6'9", and he's got a good vertical. So he's dunking and he's blocking shots. He's I mean, he's a lob threat in some cases, and so I've really enjoyed playing with him so far.
Take me back to when you first started playing. How long did you get into basketball? When you were like a real little kid, or was it something you got into later on in life?
It's something I got into later on in life. I started once I moved to public school in the 10th grade. That was my first year playing like organized basketball, and did decent my 10th grade year. I mean, obviously it was my first year, so I wasn't great. My junior year, we did a little bit better. My senior year, I did very well. The area that I'm in is a very small area. I only graduated with like 50 people, and so didn't really have a lot of college options coming out of high school, except for Southern Union, my junior college, and so that's really what made me decide to go there.
When did you hit that growth spurt to be 7'1"? And is that what, like, you're the tall guy walking around, people saying you got to play ball, or like were you always like steadily getting taller as you grew up?
Yeah, I never had like a specific growth spurt. I've always just been a head taller than everybody my age, and now heads and shoulders taller than everybody my age, and so. But yeah, there was never really a specific growth spurt. Definitely once I got taller, I wanted to be into sports, and the reason that I didn't get into sports at a younger age is because I was homeschooled, and so I was very focused on being homeschooled and learning and just growing up as a kid, my siblings and family, and so once I got a little bit older, realized I started getting a little bit taller, started playing basketball, and the summer my junior year is really when I fell in love with basketball.
Like junior year at Woodland?
Yeah.
When did you get to be 7'1"? Like, was it sophomore year or?
It was the beginning of my senior year.
Okay.
I was about to be 18, I think. Yes, I was about to be 18, and I hit 7 foot, and then I hit 7'1" after I was 18. So.
Every player develops at a different pace, but I feel like sometimes from the outside looking in, if you're a guard and someone says, okay, this guy's 5'11", he's 6'2", he's 6'3", he's got some upside. I feel like when if you're anywhere from like 6'9" and above, because when people look at you like, he's tall, he should be good. Did you ever feel like when you're growing up, like there are extra expectations put on you? Like, yes, bigs are developmental players, but did you always kind of feel like this extra pressure, like, well, dude, you're 7'1", you got to be good? Do you feel like there's extra pressure put on you as a big to develop quicker because of just how tall you are?
That's a great question. I feel like just the person that I am, there was, just because I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself, and but outside of that, obviously, there was some people, like if I was your height, I'd be a professional,
Yeah.
and but just I mean, I've never taken any of those comments to heart, so.
When you got to JUCO, what were your expectations? Were you starting to think, okay, if I do well here, I'm going to be a D1 ball player, or did you not even think that far ahead?
Oh no, absolutely. I wanted to go in my freshman year. I wanted to win Player of the Year. I wanted to do this, and this, and this, and I wanted to play Division I my sophomore year. And I that's what I was thinking. But plans just don't work out the way you want sometimes. And so. Just had to spend those 2 years in junior college, and I'm extremely blessed that I was able to make it out, and I graduated junior college, and extremely blessed to be at the level I'm at now.
What went into that leap that you made from your freshman season to your sophomore JUCO season?
Just work. I mean, over the summer, I was driving back and forth, meeting with my trainer. I was driving back and forth from my junior college while still living at home. I mean, I worked all summer, and then leading into the season, we had a good coaching staff that next year, or my sophomore year, and our assistant coach, he stepped up a little bit more, and so he really put a lot of time and effort into all of us, and I feel like that's what really led to our success.
When you were coming out of JUCO, obviously ended up at Georgia State. Who were some of the other schools that were recruiting you coming out of JUCO level?
I honestly don't really remember right now. But I had several Division II schools, and I know I had 6 Division I schools. I got them listed down on my phone. I don't remember now.
Yeah.
But yeah. But Georgia State Georgia State A, they were the reason I picked them. They were the closest to home, and this isn't in any specific order, but they were the closest to home. The area, well, I mean, it was cool. You know, Atlanta has a lot of conveniences, and the apartment was nice. I liked the sports arena and everything like that. So they really stuck out to me. And the coaches. Another thing, the coaches drove from Georgia State to my junior college to watch me work out, and they spoke with my father and my head coach and my assistant coach, so they really showed that they cared, and that's what ended up making me choose them.
If you had to tell people the player you are now versus the player you were when you first got to JUCO, where have you gotten better? How are you different as a player now as opposed to when you first started playing college ball?
A lot more confident, a lot more physical. And whenever I first started, I kind of had the mindset of like, so I've always been bigger than everybody, right? And I have a bunch of siblings. I've got several friends at my high school. So just growing up, I was bigger than everybody. I didn't like whenever we were wrestling or whatever. I'd take it easy because I'm not going to hurt you because I can hurt you, you know. Yeah. And I feel like once I started, I still had that mindset of like just kind of being a little timid and stuff like that. You know, I feel like that was the main thing that affected my game style my freshman year. But after that, once I realized that I can truly dominate at my size, you know, my weight and stuff like that, and then use my size and my weight to my advantage, then I can continue down this path.
Probably get asked about this too. When you're growing up, were there players, like other college players or guys in the NBA that you tried to model your game after? Because again, there's so many different ways you can play in the post, going inside and outside, the way guys pass, the way guys, you know, like you said, read angles and screens and come off screens. Were there guys that you looked at and emulated and idolized growing up that you were like, I want to be like that guy?
Absolutely. Whenever I was in high school, it was Kevin Garnett, and even to this day, it is Kevin Garnett. I love his game style. I love his mindset and his attitude. And it was predominantly Kevin Garnett. I like Shaq, obviously, but I'm not 300 pounds. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was Kevin Garnett.
Who was your NBA team growing up? Or did you not have a team? It was more just specific players that you liked?
Yeah, it was more specific players. Really, where I'm from, the only thing anybody cares about is college football.
Yeah.
Yes. So college football and college basketball. That's it.
Beyond the obvious stuff of like learning the offense, learning the defense here, and Adam talks a lot about, it's like you're now getting players for 10 months at a time, and if guys don't graduate, you hope you can retain them. So you got to acclimate with your teammates, but individually, do you have like individual goals in terms of like other, I don't know, metrics that you want to hit as a player, like specific areas? I know everybody wants to be good at everything, but do you have certain individual goals for improvement that you're working on this summer?
Absolutely. I want to increase my weight by about 15 to 20 pounds, and I feel like that's very attainable over this summer. And then I just want to raise my efficiency because my efficiency it was decent last year, but it wasn't the greatest. And I really feel like as long as I can be an efficient all-around player, then that'll give me the best opportunities possible.
What's it like just being in Philly so far? What do you like about the city, the campus? Because this is I guess the farthest you've been from home, other than like, you know, playing in certain games, but like just living up here for a little bit. What do you think of the city and the campus so far?
It's been very cool. You know, I lived in Atlanta for a year, so it kind of acclimated me to the city a little bit. But it's been very cool. I've met several great people. Met several people I probably shouldn't meet again. You know, just walking around the city and stuff. But it's been a very good experience so far, and I'm very excited.
What's important to you outside of basketball? You get guys like me probably asking basketball-related questions all the time, but what's something that people don't know about you outside of basketball that you would want people to know about you?
I've got 6 little siblings.
Wow. So you're the oldest of 7?
Yes.
Wow. What kind of responsibility is that? Were you almost kind of like a third parent in the house, like helping raise them?
Almost. Yeah, I babysat a lot, and that kind of leads back to, you know, I was homeschooled, so we all grew up together. I mean, me and my siblings are extremely tight.
basketball takes up a lot of time. It's, you're going to be in school, you're practicing. What do you do or do you even allow yourself to not focus on basketball? And if so, what do you do to decompress or maybe get your mind off the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big movie person. I like movies a lot. I got a PlayStation. I don't play my PlayStation a whole lot. I play sometimes though, but just a bunch of. I enjoy exploring the city. I do that often. I'll go get my truck and drive around and and see just the different sites and stuff like that. Obviously with Philly, it's a very historical city, and so it's been very cool just kind of ride around and see everything.
I may ask you about the bigs, but some of the guards that you played with so far, and when this thing is working well and you can pass out double teams and get them opportunities and vice versa. What do you think of just some of the guards that you played with so far?
You mean name them specifically?
Yeah, I know you don't want to play favorites, but just in these past couple of weeks, are there guys that whether it's Jordan or again, you want everybody playing well, but who are what do you think is so far the backcourt and some of those guys?
Absolutely. I've really enjoyed working with the backcourt. Obviously, we're only a week and a half into this thing, and some things need to be nothing bad against them, but everybody needs to play more together, and so we can play better together. But absolutely, I fully feel like everybody on my team can shoot the three, can shoot the ball, can handle the ball, and I feel very confident with the ball in any one of my guards' hands.
When you look around the building and the history here, sixth winningest program of all time, and I know there's this pressure we got to get back to the tournament. What did you know about Temple's tradition before you got here, and what do you think's possible for this program heading into the season?
Obviously I knew that it was one of the most winningest programs. For me, I feel like it's very important for us to win. And that's our goal. Our goal is to win. Our goal is to win in March, and our goal is to just not lose, whatsoever, period, Mm-hmm. And I'm very confident about that. I'm really confident about that. I enjoy playing against and seeing everybody on my team, and I feel like everybody has one mindset, one goal, and it's going to be achieved.
Cool. Thanks, Christian. Appreciate it.
All right, just a few mailbag questions to get to this week. Again, we appreciate all these questions. They help us set the agenda for the show. So whether it's something football related, basketball related, recruiting, off topic, send them our way. We appreciate them as always. So first one comes here. Well, two-part question from the screen named Sunny Al, one of our Al Scoop subscribers. First question from Sunny Al. Casey Keeler continues to impress with recent verbal commitments. I know Keeler said from day one he would recruit the pipeline, but he's even signed great players outside of the region. What has separated Keeler from Stan Drayton and Rod Carey to be able to not only get these players on campus, but to commit? Might not be one thing, but what's a difference maker in your opinion?
I think they just have more of a plan than previous for staffs, if that makes sense. I think they've really, I know people are going to be quick to talk about NIL, and NIL obviously is a big part of this. I think that they, with their limited resources, have still invested heavily in the actual recruiting staff. There's a lot of people in their organization that are off the field that are involved in recruiting, and I think they've had a plan. And then when it comes to actually making a pitch to a player, I think they're able to sell Casey Keeler as a successful coach, and also they can say, well, look, all freshmen come in and make the same amount of money, and if all of a sudden you become a starter, you make A, B, and C. They have a actual laid out swim lane flow chart. This is how you can progress here. I also think just nationally, they're one of the few programs that are still heavily recruiting high school. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the Power Four conferences are just why would I go recruit a freshman unless they're a 5-star guy when I can just go get somebody from Temple or Maryland or something like that. So I think it's kind of a little bit of a perfect storm where we talked about this before. I think pre rev share, Temple had no shot at any of these kids because they had no NIL. Now that they at least have some rev share, they can be in the conversation with kids they weren't previously in the conversation with.
Yeah, all great points. And year 2 and especially year 3 of the Rod Carey era were unmitigated disasters. Again, I want to give Rod, in the interest of being fair, recruiting during COVID, coaching during COVID, just having a college football program during COVID was hard. But they did not have, as Kyle said, they didn't have a great plan. They tried to dip into Ohio. They tried to dip into the Midwest, and they got away from right, wrong, or indifferent people. Once Al Golden kind of set the tone and turned things around and established that regional footprint, people want to go back to what made them successful. And I think Rod definitely got away from that. And we've said before on this podcast, hey, if you can get great players, you can get great players. Nobody's going to care if the guy that throws the game-winning touchdown pass is from Denver or Dover, Delaware. It doesn't matter. But with these guys getting back to that recruiting footprint, I mean, how many of these recruits have talked about how much of a difference Andrew Pierce has made? Kamari Holloway has. He has some assistant coaching hires here that make sense regionally, and they're just more organized. Again, Rod had it difficult. Stan's staff, again, we've said it before, Stan Drayton, nice guy, just did not work out as a head coach. I think he's doing a lot of what made Al Golden successful and Matt Rule successful. And I think we've talked about this too, Kyle. I mean, it's more anecdotal, but I think for as much as things have changed with rev share and NIL, it might get them in the door more because kids are now in the past. If you were trying to recruit a guy like Nate D. Smith out of Archbishop Wood, they didn't get him the first time around. They got him as a bounce back. But I think in the past, guys were like, do I really want to commit to a school?
Nate L. Smith. Nate D. Smith.
Nate L. Smith. You're right. You're right. Nate D. Smith was the edge rusher. Nate L. Smith, the safety. Thank you for correcting me. But now I think if you can just get a kid in the door, and if a high school player thinks, okay, I'll go, like, if you can get them in the door and just see what happens, that might actually play to it might actually benefit them. Because if a kid says, I'm going to go play at Temple, it's a 10-month commitment, as coaches keep saying, and see what happens. Get them on campus and see what happens. Whereas I think pre-NIL and pre-rev share, kids were like, oh, do I want to go play in the American, or I'll go play in the ACC, even if I feel like I'm going to be fourth on the depth chart. And I think sometimes that plays into a strength for them, and then they can try to retain these guys. It worked out with Peter Clark. It's worked out with Eric King. It's worked out with several players. So I just think the difference maker, in our opinion, to answer your question, your Sonny Al, Kyle did a great job of answering the question, but I mean, they're just a more organized, more strategic, well-placed geographically, just like they've just got their shit together. Again, It doesn't mean they're out recruiting Alabama and Penn State here, but they just have a better plan regionally, nationally, and that's working for them.
Yeah, and to that point, I think just not even just this regime, I think as like a program in general, Temple's usually done a pretty good job of if you can get the kid on campus, you have a good conversion rate. Like, look, I've only ever covered Temple football recruiting, I haven't covered Penn State or whatever, but from just like an outside looking in, I feel like Temple is successful with, like, if we get these kids on campus, it's usually a pretty good chance you get them to commit, whether that's from them like choosing the right targets or just the campus selling itself. And to your point, they kind of just eliminated like a barrier with rev share, when before there were kids that were just like, you are not going to be able to afford me, I'm not even going to waste my time. Now if you can kind of get within spitting distance and then you get them on campus, then you can actually let recruiters recruit. So I think it's just like a little bit, it's a different landscape than it was 3 years ago.
They also, I think this staff, more often than not, again, these are so much, 2 years, 3 years down the line, you see what happens. What does a kid work out? Was it a good fit? Was not a good fit? I think they've done a good job of trying to find kids whose personalities fit. Now, I can't give them credit for recruiting Peter Clark. That was the previous staff, but they lucked out with Peter Clark, a guy who, they went abroad, brought in a guy from England, but Peter keeps talking about Philly reminds me of London. I like the city. I just like the feel of this place. And we've talked obviously at length about how Peter Clark could have gotten more money elsewhere. We had a story on the site earlier this week. I apologize. I forget whose rankings they are. I mean, he's considered by, he's going to be one of, as long as he stays healthy, God willing, and for his sake, he's going to get drafted. And was one of the better tight ends heading into the next draft class. But they found a guy who was willing to stay at Temple, but his personality fits the place. And I think they've done a good job. Again, previous staff recruited Peter, but they are tending to find guys who resonate with Temple and the vibe of the city, the vibe of the program, and knowing that they have pathways and opportunities.
If you had to guess, how many tight ends were drafted last year?
It was a higher number, right? I should know this from all the freaking draft coverage I listened to. 12?
21.
Oh, wow.
There were 21 tight ends drafted last year. I think you see more of a shift towards two tight end sets in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I think, to the RQS reference, ESPN, I believe, had him as number 3 or number 4 tight end in this year's draft.
Yes. Question number 2 from Sonny Al. In the spirit of recruiting, what is each Al Scoop staffer's best recruiting pitch? I mean, we're not sitting here with Sonny Al right now. I don't know if Sonny Al is asking us.
Are we pitching ourselves? We're
I
pitching the
don't
football
know.
program?
Are we pitching the football program? Are we pitching ourselves? Are we pitching Temple?
I assume it's the football program.
All right.
So
Ryan,
Ryan, sell me on
Co-
Temple football.
Yeah.
Sell me
Coach
this
Ry-
pen.
Sell me this pen. Do you get that reference?
No, I do not.
Did you ever see
You
Wolf
see
of Wall
Wolf-
Street?
No, I actually never have.
That's okay. End of the movie. There's
It's the very beginning of the movie.
I thought it was the end, wasn't it?
It's John Barenthal, right? When he's before they like really get like rich, and he's bringing in like his guys to follow him.
Okay. But don't
They're
they
like-
recap it at the end where it's what's his name?
That's like at the very end he does like the speech as well, but in the very beginning of the movie, that's like a scene with him, Jonah Hill, John Barenthal, and they're like us. And then he ends up
subscribe to our
Scorsese
movie
flicks.
podcast. Our new podcast about movies. Kyle and John discussing flicks. No,
Kyle Chandler's in it, he's an FBI agent. It's a good movie.
All right, Ryan, place yourself on Temple's football staff. Coach Ryan, what is your best recruiting pitch for Temple? Are you wearing a visor in this?
Yo,
in this?
yeah, I am actually. I'm wearing a visor. I'm chewing gum, smacking real hard.
Gum? You think that's gum? That's what they're chewing?
I think about it because Sean Payton, he chews juicy fruit a lot during games. I don't know why I know that,
Interesting.
but
Colin probably told you that.
oh wait, he did it in a documentary. My fault. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So imagine you are at an in-home visit
hmm
and you're trying to lock down a commit. How would you pitch the Temple football program, Coach Ryan?
The way I would pitch it, I would probably go. You're gonna be with a coach that one cares about you and will develop you, but also been a proven winner. With Coach Casey Keeler being the winningest active head coach in D1 football right now, I would probably bring up how players like Jacoby Hills, Peter Clark, Eric King have all been able to be developed, and even though they didn't go to P4 schools, they were able to develop under this coaching staff here. Probably give them the lay of the land of how they would be able to develop here from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 to year 4 based. You're in Philadelphia, one of the biggest media markets in the country. You're in the 6th biggest city in the country. Just kind of give them all that.
What position coach are you? What role are you giving yourself on the staff here?
Probably DB coach.
Okay.
I'm also thinking for my frame. I can't really play off as I'm as if I played any other positions besides a slot receiver or cornerback. So I'm just gonna be for real here.
All right. All right. Kyle, what's your pitch?
First and foremost, I'd like to apologize again that we had Coach Ryan lead your recruiting pitch. He's gone. He's no longer with the program. This is me. I'm the new DB's coach, Coach Kyle, and I assure you, all that's been taken care of. Thank you, Mrs. DiCarlo, for inviting me in. You have a lovely home. I appreciate apple pie as my favorite. Can I have a seat? I'll have a seat. Despite some of his off-the-field transgressions, Coach Ryan was right about a couple things. This is the 5th largest media market in the nation. You come to Temple, you're going to be playing in front of your friends, your family, and the eyes of America will be watching you. There's a reason they call it the American Conference. The geographical stretch. You ever been to New Orleans? You like gumbo? We play Tulane every other year down there. I'll take you to Bourbon Street myself. They have some crazy stuff. You see the World War II Museum in New Orleans? Mr. DiCarlo, it's awesome. You have to see it. Anyway, at Temple, Casey Keeler, you'll be entering his 3rd year. We just came off the #1 transfer portal class and #1 high school recruiting class in the American. We think this year, his 3rd year, could be even better. Historically, let me lay out what has happened in the 3rd year of Casey Keeler regimes before. Rowan, he went 5-0 in conference. Delaware, 7-1 in conference, national championship runner-up. Sam Houston State 9-0, made the semifinals in the FCS playoff championship. That is 21-1 in the conference in his 3rd year. We think you're going to be part of that. I will guarantee you right now, you sign this NIL, we're going to the Natty. Not legally held to any of those trusts. I also negatively recruit everybody. I go on 3. I see who else is even talking to. I just negatively recruit. Go ahead, John.
No, I'm not doing mine. Well, what am I going to do to top that?
I fired Ryan.
You fired Ryan.
I'm gone.
I fired Ryan as the start to my
You're
pitch.
apparently on an in-home visit in Downingtown talking to my mom.
Yes.
And my father. You referenced Mr. DiCarlo, so you're recruiting him up in heaven. So
From top to bottom, we recruit everybody. Everybody in this organization knows everybody in your family.
Big John was a Kyle fan, though, so he would
Exactly.
appreciate that.
I wouldn't even have to do. I wouldn't even give you the honor of an in-home visit. I would have already had you committed.
Let's hold on. I'm not gonna top that. All right. Figure we might get a question like this week, given the New York Knicks winning the NBA championship. Mike TB31 checking in with this mailbag question. Pretend Rick Patrick Ewing Brunson wasn't an idiot and NBA Finals MVP Jalen Brunson spent his college years at Temple. Would he still be the player he is today? Would we be any better as a program?
The second part, yeah.
Of course, of course. Just in the slight event that you have been living under a rock, or maybe you are a newer Temple fan and you are not familiar with the story, Rick Brunson was set to join Fran Dunphy's staff as an assistant coach. He was arrested in Chicago or outside of Chicago. Those charges were later dropped, but Fran couldn't hire him. That's when he brought on Aaron McKee. But Rick Brunson was set to be hired at Temple, and Jalen Brunson was expected to follow him and be at Temple. So I think 99.9% of you know that. So the question is, would Jalen Brunson still be the player he is today, and would Temple be better as a program?
Which the latter part of that is absolutely.
Absolutely.
He won 2 national championships at Villanova.
Yes.
Would he be the same player today? He would have still made the NBA. There's no scenario where it would have been like, oh, he would have fallen off the face of the earth and nobody's heard of this 5-star point guard with an NBA lineage. Like, I don't know, maybe it would have made him better. He would have entered the league with more of a chip on his shoulder of just like, hey, I fell to the middle of the second round because of I played at Temple and blah blah. I didn't get the credit I deserved. I don't know. I'll tell you that I was rooting for a sinkhole to open up underneath Madison Square Garden during the entire NBA Finals, but unfortunately the Knicks are the champions, so that is something we're going to have to deal with. I mean, kudos to them. I think he's the best Knick of all time. As much as that seems, I know Patrick Ewing, ironically, is the other comparison to that. I think he's the best Knick of all time.
What are your thoughts on this, Ryan?
They 100% would have been better as a program if Jalen Brunson had gotten there. Would he have been the player he is today? I can't really say that, but I can say for sure that Temple would be better as a program today if he had gone there.
That was still like pre-open transferring. He would have been here for 3-4 years. Shiz Olsen was still there. Like Ernest Flagpy was still there. Maybe Georgios Papagiannis actually decides to come to Temple that year. Like, I don't know. Like, there were so many what if. It's the ultimate what if of the last 20 years for Temple basketball. Is what if that incident hadn't occurred or allegedly occurred and all these things had happened? Then, yeah. I don't think it would have all of a sudden been like, and now Temple's in the Big East because they went to the Final Four or whatever. I think they would have just had like a 4-year run of very good basketball. I think Fran Dunphy was and is a hell of an offensive coach. I think he would have given Jalen just the keys to the show. I think they would have been very successful with that group.
Yeah, I get it. We've talked about this on and off for the past several years. Temple fans feel cursed by...
I still remember where I was. I was driving down to LBI. I was taking a back road past like a blueberry farm in Jersey, and I got this text message being like, oh no.
I mean, I totally get if you're a fan and you're a Temple fan and you were rooting against Jalen Brunson in the Knicks in the finals because you're either a Sixers fan or you don't like Villanova, and you look at Jalen Brunson, and every time you think of Jalen Brunson, you think of what could have been. I get it. But my goodness, I mean, he is, I'm not breaking any news here. He's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant basketball player. And as much as, you can, Google the stuff that has happened with Rick off the court, Jalen is, I'm certainly not the first to say this, he is a better version of his father. He knows how to use angles. He knows how to get shots off. I'm happy for him. Obviously, he had help around him, but I mean, God, even the shot that the OG tipped in, I mean, that thing damn nearly, that was right on target. But he is, like you said, the greatest Knick of all time. He's tough. He is determined. So obviously they would have been better. And I think that Kyle makes a good point. Fran Dunphy is a great offensive coach, and he especially if you saw his offense as a pen, I mean, he could really, maybe he could coach offense and he could coach defense. He could run a structured offense if he needed to, but he gave Khalif Wyatt a great amount of freedom, and I'm sure he would have given Jalen Brunson a great amount of freedom. Couple that with the fact that sees the floor really well. There's no question the Temple would have been worlds better, as Kyle mentioned. And this is where Fran ran into some bad luck. He ran into bad luck with the Jalen Brunson situation. Bad luck is probably not the right term to use here, but poor Trey Lowe gets into a car accident.
Right.
If Trey Lowe is healthy and Jalen Brunson comes to Temple, they fall into 10 more wins easily. Yeah. I mean, it would have been an immeasurably better basketball team. I haven't talked to Rick Brunson since Jalen's recruitment, and the only thing that I think might have been interesting is how that whole coaching dynamic would have worked with Rick on the bench. And again, I think Rick, regardless of what you think of Rick, Rick is a smart basketball guy. I respect his basketball acumen, a guy that was undrafted, stayed in the league, forged a 9 or 10 year NBA career by going from one 10-day contract to the next. He knows the game. I wonder sometimes what that dynamic would have been like, but I've never met Jalen. I thought at one point, obviously, he was going to be covering his career. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about him. He's a terrific player. I think winning would have cured a lot of ills there, but I sometimes wonder what the dynamic would have been like. Rick obviously wanted to be the head coach when John Chaney retired, was, not happy when they decided to hire Fran, and had wanted to be on Temple staff. He'd always said coaching at Temple was a dream. So it's useless to think about now. I wonder if what that dynamic would have been like. Jay Wright didn't have to worry about that. Villanova did a great job recruiting him. When things didn't work out at Temple, Villanova had been recruiting him. Jay had done a good job recruiting him. Ashley Howard had done a good job recruiting him. So it's not anything that Jay Wright had to worry about. But yes,
Let me give you one more hypothetical.
Yeah.
What if John Chaney had let Rick Brunson transfer?
Wow. Well,
I'll take you down my spiderweb brain here. Let's say he goes to UMass or some crap, right? He leaves.
It was BC. Well, real quick,
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Leaves.
Right.
Leaves.
Okay.
Severs the Leon Rose connection.
Yeah.
Leon Rose never gets Eddie Jones. He never gets Aaron McKee. He never gets Iverson because he doesn't have that in from Brunson into these players. Leon Rose never becomes super agent. Leon Rose never takes over the Knicks. Mm-hmm. Leon Rose never has that inside pitch to bring Jalen Brunson to the Knicks.
Yeah.
John Chaney, one decision, 35 years later.
Well, yeah, it's a very interesting scenario to think about. The story there is Rick Brunson, was it after his freshman season?
Freshman or sophomore, yeah.
All but decides he's gone, and had decided he was going to transfer to Boston College. At the 11th hour, he decides, I can't do it. I want to come back. But he knew that he needed to mend some fences with John Chaney. Rick goes to Eddie Jones and Aaron McKee and says, I want you guys to come with me to kind of make this more comfortable. And they were like, no, you either go do it yourself, or like, you're going to have to, like, we can't exactly smooth this over with you. So he tried to employ the help of Eddie and Aaron there. But yeah, Rick was out the door, not vilifying him for that. Players change their minds and transfer all the time. But no, that is very, what if Rick Brunson ends up finishing his career somewhere else? Like, I mean, Johnny Miller was not the player that Rick Brunson was, but Johnny Miller was an important recruit for Temple out of the Lancaster area. He ends up transferring to Clemson, didn't go into the NBA like Rick did. But yeah, that's very interesting to think about. If he had ended up saying, oh, I am going to go back home to Massachusetts, I'm going to transfer to BC.
And maybe Jalen Brunson's at Boston College.
Yeah. Mike TB31 has one more question to close out the mailbag for us here. This is football related. How have we progressed with NIL this season? Are we offering decent packages to the high school seniors, juniors? Are we allocating most of it to the portal players and retaining our own? So Kyle alluded to this earlier, and I haven't asked Casey Keeler about this recently, but in a one-on-one interview with him, I believe it was last season, he said, we tell all of our incoming high school recruits that everybody's making the same thing coming in as a high school recruit, and then you have the opportunity to make more, and we'll figure that out. Now with the portal, it's different. They have, I mean, Clayton Barnes, I can't remember if Clayton actually talked, I don't think he talked dollar figures, but it's out there that they thought they made a competitive offer to Trinidad Chambliss, and they did. And we know the Trinidad Chambliss story now, where he ends up at Ole Miss. He was set to visit Temple. Ole Miss didn't let him go. He was going to be a backup there. Ends up, becoming the starter after an injury. But they offer high school players, again, unless they've changed this, the same package. And then there's the opportunity for them to make more. And from what we can tell, it keeps things harmonious with the class coming in. Obviously, they've made some fundraising advances. They still have a long way to go, but I don't know what their exact package is that they offer to high school players. But unless something has changed, as I said before, the packages that they offer to high school seniors are enough to get a lot of them in the door. And then, like I said, they take their best chance there in trying to retain them. What they have to offer or allocate to the portal, yes, that's where things change. That's when they that's when they start to price out how much are we going to spend on a quarterback, how much are we going to spend on an edge rusher. The other thing that I think they've done well, and again, Clayton Barnes, their general manager, has talked about this, is trying to sign guys to multi-year contracts. That's how they've been able to retain somebody like a Jacoby Hills or an Eric King.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
that'll do it for this week's
Do
mailbag.
you ever see Catch Me If You Can?
No,
Yeah.
I actually haven't. I know it's a
Ryan, you know, like, have you been there with him? Like, he's pretending to be a doctor and he's talking and he's like, "Do you concur?" Like, I concur. Why didn't I concur? It's like he gets trying to get people to say concur because he watched the movie. That's how we're gonna end that segment. I concur.
I concur. So, well, Coach Ryan Mack briefly had a stint on Temple staff before Kyle just
Look, it was a black eye on our franchise, on our program, okay? But we've moved past it. We acted swiftly. Once we got word that he was recruiting you that way, John, we couldn't let that be your last taste of Temple University. So we got him out with gusto. He is long gone. If anybody calls me for a reference, I'd say he's stealing somebody's identity. There's no way you can hire this man. But you are our priority, John. Also, if you don't commit today, I'm going to take somebody else to your position group. No pressure.
well, I mean, that's common, right?
Yeah, I would just tell him straight up, like TikTok.
There are a few of these. I mean, there are a few of these commits already who've talked about that. They more or less they have talked about like, hey, I needed to make sure I came in on this official visit. Because if not, again, there are only a certain amount of spots to go around, and then they have to allocate other spots for the portal. So yeah, Coach Kyle knows what he's doing. Was Ryan fired, or is Ryan in like an off the field role? Did you just?
Oh, gone. Ryan, like there is some off the field stuff out there that we were made aware of that we used to fire him with cause.
What is Ryan
with cause?
Oh, goodness, was I gambling?
No, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. We don't care about things like this at Kyle Gauss's Temple University program. But what you did, Ryan, the unspeakable things you did, we cannot allow. You showed your true colors.
I'm sorry. I'll be better.
Not here, you won't. Enjoy Indiana State.
I'm gonna rehabilitate, and then I'm gonna go with ultimate nice person, Lane Kiffin at LSU, because he's just the nicest person ever and doesn't have any character issues or anything bad.
Yeah. Birds of a feather.
The thought of Ryan Mack working for Lane Kiffin is just, that'll be.
I just want to see you interact with Coach O. Now that Coach O's back there.
Like, Coach, I'm so sorry. I do not know what you're saying, Coach.
I thought you were going to try to do a Coach O accent. I was
looking
forward to it.
Nope,
I was like, do it, John. Do it.
Nope. Anyway, that'll do it for this week. Thank you for the mailbag questions. And again, like I said, we'll probably have more recruiting scoop and recruiting news to bring to you again. The best place to be locked in is at owlscoop.com. We're going to once we get dependable and reliable information, a lot of times we're going to break it on the football board first. So we'll have more coverage for you throughout the summer, more basketball interviews. Again, congrats to Kyle and Meg, baby gals.
Oh yeah, congrats to her as well, not just me.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one in this.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in for another episode, and we will talk to you guys next week.